Modifying the in and out and up and down alignments of your base and wall cabinets is a wonderful way for you to add depth and dimension to your plan. And you can actually do that from 3 different areas in 2020. You can do this in the floor plan, the elevation, and the perspective. Let's start with the in and out option. I'm going to zoom in on our sink base 36, and I'm going to pull our sink base 3 inches from the wall. I'm going to do that by right-clicking on it, highlighting it, and going right to the feature called In and Out. If I left-click on In and Out, you'll notice that I can now pull my cabinet away from the wall. If I want to move it an exact distance, if you look to the far left-hand side where it reads Placement, you have the out, distance from wall, front, and back dimensions. All I have to do on my keyboard is type in 3 and hit Enter, and my sink base is now 3 inches away from the wall. Now you can also adjust up and downs from the floor plan too. So let's move over here to the right-hand side to this wall 3324 in this workspace. If I right-click on a wall 3324, again, choose it from my list, and then move over to the drop-down, you will find up and down. I can click on up and down, and a counter appears. Right now, it says that that cabinet is 66¼ inches off of the floor. If I want the bottom alignment, now keep this in mind, this is the bottom of the item. So the bottom of the cabinet on the wall. If I want that to be 54, all I have to do is type in 54 and hit Enter. That cabinet is now exactly 54 inches off of the floor. Now I'm going to hit undo and return it to its original space. And I'm going to show you how I would do this in elevation. Now I mentioned that you can use in and out and up and down from your floor plan, your elevation, and your perspective. But there's certain places I find it works best. For instance, in and out, I believe works best working on the floor plan. So I almost always do that from the floor plan mode. Up and down, I prefer to do that from the elevation mode. Now, if I double clicked on my space in my workspace here, an elevation will open up. And you'll see that I could actually hold my left-hand button down on the wall 3324, and I can move it up and down. I could snap it so it centers in between these 2 cabinets. I can move it to the top so it snaps and aligns at the top edge. Or I could right-click on it, choose up and down, and in the counter on the left under placement zone, I could actually type what the top dimension is or the bottom dimension. So if I hit the tab key to go down the bottom dimension, I could type in 54, hit enter, and that cabinet is exactly where I want it to be. Now let's right click on the elevation, choose delete elevation, and let me move into a perspective mode. Now at the bottom of my screen, I already have a perspective open. So I'm going to move down to the bottom. I'm going to choose the rendering, have it open up, and you'll see that my cabinet has been lowered to 54 inches off of the floor. Now, when you're in perspective, you can also make changes here. I could right-click on this cabinet, I could choose up and down, and I could drag this up and down. Now, I can try to line this up, and this would be wonderful. I'm sitting next to a client, and I want to quickly move something up to give them a quick understanding of what it would look like. But I will tell you that I would not actually do this as a permanent change from the screen. I do this simply for presentation purposes with a client. If I wanted to determine exactly where that cabinet should be, I would actually use the floor plan or the elevation because they are scalable. Your rendering is not scaled. So make sure that when you are trying to place something exactly where you want, that you do focus on making those changes permanently within your elevation or your floor plan mode.